I'm going to say to you now, ideas that changed my life. What made it change my life? When I was a teenager, I did not like Yom Kippur. When I heard what I'm about to share with you now, not only did I learn to love Yom Kippur, but Yom Kippur, I look forward to it. For me, Yom Kippur is a blessing, an opportunity. It is the most incredibly cleansing experience, but you have to know how to approach this. When I was a little bit, I guess I was your age, I heard a shir from my teacher, my mashgiach, Rabbi Asher Zelig Rubenstein, Tzaddik Zichronim Livracha. He heard it from his teacher, Chatzkel Levenstein, and the ideas came from what's called the Beis Medrash of Rabbi Yisrael Salanta, based on the writings of the father of the Musar movement, Rabbi Yisrael Salanta. What I'm about to say to you now makes sense. The beauty of what I'm going to say is that it makes sense. And there cannot be any other way that makes sense except for what I'm about to teach you. And then, when I leave this room in about 15 minutes, what's going to happen is there's going to be two groups. There's going to be those who say, oh, that was nice. And there are those of you that are going to do it. By the way, I hope it's everyone. Because if you actually do it, your Yom Kippur is going to be so much more beautiful. You're going to come to me, you're going to thank me. So listen to what you do. The key to a successful Viduy is just a Hebrew word for the confessional. The way to do it is what's called a three-step plan. What do I mean by a three-step plan? Step number one is to recognize you can't become perfect overnight. Just not happening. You can't wave a magic wand and wake up and you have reached your full potential. Let me expand on that a little bit. And here I'm being very, very serious. In your mama's womb, an angel came to you and showed you your full potential. I like to call it your ladder. Every person has a ladder. And guess what? Your mission, if you choose to accept in this world, is to climb your ladder. You just got to be yourself. By the way, in square brackets, if you understand this really well, you'll never ever suffer from problems of low self-esteem. Because why do people feel bad about themselves? Because they're always comparing and comparing and comparing and comparing. And today we live in a crazy world where everyone is subjected to so many possibilities. You wake up in the morning, whatever it is, you look at the cornflakes blocks and you decide that you're ugly when you see the, whatever is the Photoshop models over there. And you go to school and you think you're stupid because there's always people smarter. And then you go, like here in Viduy, you always think, oh, there's people who daven better, who are sweeter than me, who are nicer than me, and all kinds of things. Well, guess what? Hashem could not care about anybody else except for you. You look different from the girl next to you. Check it out. Secretly, you can think to yourself, thank God. But the reason why you look different from the person next to you is Hashem is saying to you, just be you. That's it. Don't try and be anybody else. Climb your ladder. How do you figure out your ladder? That's a discussion for another day. But let's just pretend, for the purpose of this class, that your ladder has 49 rungs. Could be only has 3 rungs, but let's pretend it has 49 rungs. How much are you expected to climb in the next year? Yeah, 1 or 2. That's it. That's all it's gonna be. You're not gonna reach the top. If you do, anyone knows anything about climbing ladders, if you try and jump too many rungs, it's not a pretty sight. Here in the Viduy, we always tell you, don't go too fast, too quickly. Those of you who are on a journey of change, slow, healthy change, that's what lasts. I'm not saying every case all the time, but I'm saying 95% of my experience and my colleagues' experience, they'll tell you that people that went too fast, and when they crash, it's not a pretty sight. It's very hard afterwards to pick up the pieces of Humpty Dumpty. You know what I mean? It's like, it's not easy. You go slowly. Each stage, you know that you're in a good place because you're happy. You don't feel intensely stressed from the religious changes that you've made. You enjoy Shabbos. You enjoy davening. You enjoy the changes that you've made on a personal level. So here, I'm saying to you that the very first thing is to stand on Yom Kippur in front of HaKadosh Baruch Hu and say, look, you see this video over here? These are my values, which I'm not ready for yet. But I really, really want one day to be connected to all of these things. Are you lying? I would say to you that maybe you'd be lying the rest of the year. But Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur, by the way, Rosh Hashanah, I just want to remind you what I taught you the other day. Rosh Hashanah, you're not allowed to talk about yourself in a negative light. This is all Yom Kippur. Rosh Hashanah, the tshuva of Rosh Hashanah is say, I want to be your best soldier. I want to fight your battles. But you can't bring out your dirty laundry on Rosh Hashanah, because Rosh Hashanah, Hashem judges what he sees. Yom Kippur is when you bring out your past. Yom Kippur, you're now ready. Hashem says, now we can talk about all the stuff you've suppressed. Now you bring it open. So on Yom Kippur, you say to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, look, step number one is that I want to reach the top of my ladder. I really do. I want to live the life that I was created for. I want to live that life that you put me in this world for. I want nothing else. I want to be maximum me. That's what I want to do. And Yom Kippur, you for sure mean it. Actually, I think you mean it throughout the year. But throughout the year, we get crazy. And if you remember from another class I had, you get stuck in stockies, right? You end up in some sort of gas station, and you end up living there, and you forget that you're on a journey to get to Kansas City. So my point is that step number one is a declaration. This Viduy and everything it stands for and everything that Judaism is all about, I buy in. I believe in it. I'm not ready for it yet. So now you're going to say to me, HaKadosh Baruch, you're going to say to me, how do I know that you're for real? Maybe you're just playing a game with me. So come step two. And step two is, I'll prove it to you, because I'm going to give you now a realistic plan to climb one rung. A realistic plan to climb one rung. And this is the secret of Viduy on Yom Kippur, and this is the great secret to change. It's what's called in Hebrew, this is like an Ashkenazi Hebrew, Kabbalas. Kabbalas means taking upon yourself challenges. Kabbalas is the key to Yom Kippur. Again, Kabbalas are the key to Yom Kippur. What does it mean, Kabbalah? So I'll give you a healthy way of doing it. Every girl and every rabbi in this room should think about 3 to 5 challenges. 3 to 5 challenges. I always suggest, you don't have to do this, write 3 to 5 challenges till Hanukkah. Why till Hanukkah? Because if you say forever, it's too much. You give it till Hanukkah, you say Hanukkah, if it's working well for me, I'll renew it till Pesach. And that's how you grow, okay? What kind of changes? So I always suggest, again, you don't have to do it this way. You can sit with someone that you trust, who knows you well, and you can figure out what to do. But I always suggest, choose one thing, being Adam l'chavera, between you and your fellow man. Another thing, being Adam l'malkum, between you and God. And the third is being Adam la'atzmo, between you and yourself. What do I mean between you and yourself? So the examples I like to give is fighting the demons inside of you that restrict you from becoming who you're supposed to be, what I call your addictions. I'll confess to you one of my addictions. I'm not going to be embarrassed to tell you, it's right here in my pocket. These little things. Over the last couple of years, I notice that this thing, sometimes I feel it controls me. What can I tell you? There are girls in this room, this thing gives a ding, they have to check. They can't say, it's probably not important, I'm in the middle of a class, I'll look at it at the end. Morgan, it can happen, right? They these things, like, you know what I mean, like, my precious, my beloved phone. This is what it is. I remember once, I did NCSY, this was it was a Euro NCSY thing. And we once played this game, and I asked them, if your house was on fire, God forbid, and you had to take out one thing, what would you take out? And most kids said their phones. Like the thing, that's it, they said their phones. Like the firm people say, I take out the Sefer Torah. No, I'll take out the phone. It's like much, it's like what people say. That people get addicted to their phones. Class is over, you got to check your phone. As if something has happened in your life. Never has. Hopefully never will be. You don't want really big things. It's not like something, the most important thing that stresses you at this point is, your Rosh Hashanah plans. Will they take me in for Shabbos? Those are the things that are stressing you. But the point is, we're not in control. One year, I took upon myself that I would not look at my phone until after davening. So you think, what's the big deal? But for me, it was hard. Another year, I took upon myself that when Shabbos was over, I would wait 10 minutes after Havdalah before I look at my phone. So you're thinking to yourself, what's the big deal? For me, it was hard. And I had a student that every night would watch 3 hours of television. And I said to him, you know what? Okay, what would you suggest? Someone watches 3 hours of television. They want to take upon themselves something meaningful. What? Watch 2. You got it. You guys got it. You guys get it. 2 weeks ago, I was in Toronto. A Talmud of mine, successful businessman, says, I don't have a TV in my house, but I spend an hour and a half on the blogs. An hour on blogs, trolling the blogs, the internet. And I said, okay, we've got to get it down to an hour. We've got to do that. So that's it. That's called a Baal Tshuva. That's real. That if you watch a movie every night, so make one night movie free. If you're obsessed with non-Jewish music, and it just takes over your life, you make Friday into a Jewish music day, or Motzei Shabbos, or both. I'm just giving you ideas. I'm just giving you ideas how you can take your life back, take control, that the machines in your life don't control you, the little pixels that are so addicting, and you can take control. Another example, Bin Adam L'Chavero. Everyone can work on being a nicer person. But how do you work on being a nicer person? You can't suddenly be a nicer person. Well, you can. I'll give you an example. You can take upon yourself that every time you go out with your friends, you're going to think of a girl that no one asks to take out. Could be whatever it is. She's not part of the chevra. You know what a mitzvah that is? It's a horrible phrase. I call it adopt a nerd, but it's not really nice. It's kind of rude. But there's a thing. Obviously, you don't say it. You don't say, "Hi, can you be my nerd?" No, you don't say it that way. That's rude. Well, just take someone who bring her into your chevra. Or another thing you can do is if somebody gets on your nerves, so you say every night before I go to sleep, I'm going to think of one nice thing about that person. Little things that you can work on. There's no end to small, meaningful challenges, but you've got to set yourself up for success. Another example, every night before I go to sleep, I'm going to learn one law of Hilchos Lashon Hara, the laws of Lashon Hara. What does that mean? Just to refine my speech. If you refine your speech, you become a nicer person. It's an incredible thing. Next, Bein Adam L'Makom, between you and God. If you don't love your sitter, you're not going to love your sitter overnight. But what you can do is say to yourself, in the next 12 months, I'm going to learn the translation of the Shemona Esrei. That's a big thing. Or I'm going to say Asher Yatzar, which is the prayer after the bathroom, without moving. I'm going to say, and I'm going to be thinking the following: how awesome is the gift of a healthy body? How awesome, how beautiful is that? Thank you, Hashem. Or benching, which I have so much to talk about. Benching is such an incredible blessing. I'm going to bench from a bencher and actually thank Hashem for all these little things. What's my point? My point is, tshuva has to work for you and has to make sense. Did I mention there's a third thing? What's the third thing? What's the third thing? Write it down. You've got to write it down. You have to what's called in the language of the Musa giants, Pinkas Kabbalot, a little petek, which you hide, and in it you write it down. When you write it down, first of all, on the Kabbalistic level, you bring it into this wall. I'm not sure what that means, but psychologically, you just made it real. And I'll prove it to you. This is going to blow you away, because once you hear it from me, you'll suddenly realize it's true and you never thought about it. The moment you write it down, that's the moment it becomes impossibly hard to do. It's like a crazy thing. You write it down and suddenly, my gosh, the Sultan says, okay, this is war. I'm taking my gloves off. Let's fight. And this small little, teeny little thing suddenly becomes the hardest thing ever. Crazy, crazy thing. How whatever it is, everyone knows what it's like when you make that decision that you're going to wake up in time. That's a hard one. That's a hard one. You have to fight early morning laziness. I'm still working on it to this moment. The point I'm trying to make is that the moment you take on a challenge, then the sun's going to make it a fight. It's going to get a crazy thing. I just read a wild story. It's a short one. A wild story. There was in the 19th century in Hungary. Oh, it's your backyard. So in Hungary in the 19th century, the Orthodox community imploded and thousands of people stopped keeping religion. That was the neologues, right? They took over. It was like a crazy thing. The story goes, there's a Hasidic rabbi who was on a train, and he sees a Jew who gave up everything. And he goes up to that Jew and says to him, do you keep kosher? No. Do you keep Shabbos? No. He says, do you keep Yom Kippur? No. And the Hasidim are watching the rabbi. What's he going to do? What's going to be his move? What's he going to say now? So he says, look. what time do you have dinner every night? He says at 8 o'clock. He says, this Yom Kippur, make me a promise that you're going to have dinner at 9. Fast for an hour. So he goes, for you, Rabbi, I'll do that. For you, Rabbi, I'll do that. I'll fast 1 hour Yom Kippur. So the story says is that after a while, they saw this man was starting to tremble all over. And after he got up and went to the Rebbe and says, I can't do it. He says, why not? He says, I was picturing that 1 hour. I was picturing my family making fun of me. It's, and I realized how hard that 1 hour is. That 1 hour suddenly became the hardest thing ever to go 1 hour without food. He says, I can't do it anymore. So this is going to be your little battle. You're going to write those things down. You're going to do it till Hanukkah, and you're going to win. And then you're going to stand in front of God this Yom Kippur, and suddenly Yom Kippur is going to be a delight. It's going to be beautiful for you. Because what you do, Yom Kippur, you say, Kosh Baruch, I want to get close to you. And you give me a chance to get rid of my baggage. You're going to get rid of my past. So all these things I regret, but I know myself. I'm probably going to go back and do them again. But not because I believe in it, not because I want to do it, because I'm not ready yet to conquer these demons. But guess what? I have a plan to get in that direction with small, meaningful, teeny, chewable bites, and those are going to be real. Those are going to do for you, Hashem. For you and for me to break down the barriers. A little bit by bit, the barriers will fall away, and you get close to Kosh Baruch Hu, and you can become like the tzaddikim and the holy people and their wives, that really everything comes out of their mouths and into their mouths and through their thoughts are beautiful, are real, are what you're supposed to be doing. They live the life that they were created for. It's a goal, and we're all going to get there eventually. We're just not ready to get there yet. So, my dear respected ladies, don't blow your Yom Kippur. Don't be overwhelmed by it. For those of you, I think we spoke about this, for those of you who are not masters of the Hebrew, don't let it bother you. The rule is, Toiv ma'at b'kavana, meharbus below kavana. A little bit that you relate to is more than a ton that's overwhelming. You don't have to say all the things that the Chazan's saying. It's much better to say the Shemona Esrei, you read the English, then you do a bit of Hebrew, and do it slowly at your own pace and try and relate. And the Viduy should be something emotional. Don't worry of all the stuff that's going on. It's not anywhere near as important than having those real moments in Yom Kippur where you're trying to make a real relationship with Hashem. And then you'll realize that it's the greatest gift of all. When Yom Kippur is over, you'll feel this real inner cleansing. You'll feel that you want to dance. You'll feel this inner joy, and it's real. It's real. And then you can go back, and you're not expected, you know what I mean? Matzah Yom Kippur, if you eat like a pig, don't feel bad. Everyone else is. I don't mean, God forbid, eat like a pig, but you know what I mean? Like you feel like, oh, I'm already eating like that. That's it. But you know that Yom Kippur that you had was real, and you made this little meaningful steps. And little steps add up. And eventually you look back at yourself, and you realize you become that person that you always wanted to be, and that's the greatest gift of all. Thank you so much for listening. Ksiva Zimatova. I ask for forgiveness throughout the year. Those people that I excessively tease, Bella, so that they, you know what I mean, she should be mochel me. It comes from a good place, and we should all next year have an incredible good year together and see only good things. Thank you so much. Thank you.